Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene an executive session and a regular meeting on Tuesday, April the 17th, 2012, at 5:45 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of Brownsville City Hall, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Executive session item A, discussion pursuant to section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code regarding potential real estate acquisition.
Okay, before I entertain a motion for executive session, I would like to extend a welcome to all of the people that are here today. But I especially wanted to thank some young citizens of Brownsville that I'm particularly proud of having here today. The Stella Middle School students. Evelyn, thank you for bringing these wonderful young folks. I hope this is going to be a good experience for you, and hopefully someday you're sitting up here where we're sitting, okay? But we have now to go into executive session, as long as I get a motion in a second and it passes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Okay, we'll be right back. No. Who is it, Brent? Joseph Nájera. You got it. Thank you. Okay, Estella, I think we,
The Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
okay, I'm going to ask the Stella Middle School students to lead us in the pledge for the United States and also for the Texas pledge. We'll have the invocation by Pastor Joseph Nájera from Divine Providence Church.
Let's pray together. Our Father, we know that it's right from your word to pray for those in the government, and we just pray for them now, that you give them wisdom to lead our city, to make decisions. Lord, we know that you give wisdom to all those who ask freely, without measure. So we do pray for it now, Father. We pray your blessing upon this meeting, upon everyone here. Thank you, Lord, for your Son, Jesus Christ, by whom we are saved. We thank you. In his name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's the mayor's report. And while I have a full audience, let me make a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to do something with these good students here. The first announcement, I think a couple of weeks ago, I told you that we were trying to plan an event between Matamoros and Brownsville, and it's becoming a reality. The mayor of Matamoros and myself, along with the Mexican consulate and the American consulate, have put together an event on May the 3rd, which is a Thursday evening, and it's called Dinner on the Bridge. And it's a charity, a fundraising event, $1,500 for a table of 10. The individual tickets, I think, are a little bit higher, but like $160 per person. It's going to be actually on the bridge. As soon as the train comes through the B&M Bridge on that Thursday, then we will set up a platform. We will have a mini red carpet treatment for all of you who attend. I am going to, there's going to be very little speaking, but at that particular meeting, we are formally going to sign the sister agreement between Matamoros and Brownsville. I hope as many of you can make it. I can't tell you all the details, but I'm sure that if you call Estella at the city, Stella's going over there, I'm going to kill you. But anyway, for all of those who can make it, who would like to sponsor, all the proceeds are going to go to two children's organizations divided equally between Matamoros and Brownsville, and they're going to be for children's disabilities, whether it be autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. None of the money that will be given will be used for the administrative purposes of providing food, drink, wine, or whatever else. That is all going to be by donations that we have endeavored to get from different local citizens as well as establishments. So mark your calendar. It's basically, the idea was to have a Cinco de Mayo celebration, but we're going to do it on el día 3 de Mayo, because el día 5 de Mayo, for some of you who may not know, the group that's originally from, or the lead singer who is from Brownsville, Del Castillo, will be playing at the university, and we didn't want to interfere with that, so we hope to make it a nice weekend. That's number one. Number two, in keeping with what we have strived to do, and believing that restoring and refurbishing downtown Brownsville, we have, between all the commissioners, in one fashion or another, trying to do more hike and bike trails, and et cetera, but as they say, all roads lead to Rome, and so in our instance, all roads hopefully will lead to the City Hall. And in keeping with that, on every Wednesday of every month, with the exception of whatever this last Wednesday is, because on that Wednesday I attend the Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting. But other than that, we're meeting at the Cueto Building, and tomorrow we're having an organization that I'm going to have Rose tell you a little bit about. But it's basically, we're going to go do a little planning and looking around downtown Brownsville tomorrow morning. Rose, tell us about that organization.
I went to an active transportation conference in San Antonio about a month ago and heard a presentation that really intrigued me by a young man named Jason Roberts, and he and a friend of his started a movement in Dallas, actually, and as it turned out, Mr. Roberts grew up in Harlingen, so he's familiar with whom we are. And it's a different way to look at your community block by block and plan not over time, but in real time, to see what types of storefronts, what types of facilities, what types of crosswalks, what types of retail that people would actually like to see in their area, block by block. So he's going to be coming, thanks to 4B supporting his arrival, to come tomorrow and look at downtown Brownsville with us and learn a bit about our history and see how we might be able to change our downtown block by block with the cooperation and participation of the whole community.
Okay, so, and that starts tomorrow at 10. We've actually invited him to come down, or come over there a little earlier, and there will be hopefully some refreshments as far as they will last, because we have no idea how many folks will show up. But for some of you who know who are city officials, we've been having these meetings, kind of planning sessions, but this one's kind of special because we're having someone else come in here and talk about, we're not going to be talking about with architects or with engineers or city planners. We're going to be talking about someone who's going to be out there, and they have a really interesting program. So for those of you who are watching and are interested, please join us. This is not the City Commission's effort. This is actually the City of Brownsville's effort. So all of you are invited to join, and we want everybody's input. We know that at the end of the day, not everybody's going to come out with the exact same thing that everybody else wants, but we have to start somewhere. So you all are invited. And the last thing I'd like to do before I turn over the program here is Evelyn, I'd like to come down, and I'd like to have all your students come down here and meet all the city commissioners as well as myself. Okay, before you do that, Rose has got
No,
something.
you can still come down. The other thing I just wanted to remind folks of is that there's a lot of really exciting things still happening with Biggest Loser these last 2 weeks, and the grand finale is the 28th of April at the Sports Park, where we're going to do set a world record for Zumba Atomic, which is Zumba for children, like these kids here from Stell. Gates will open at 9, and we hope to begin Zumba-ing at 10. And there are prizes that will be awarded to schools for the largest percent participation in the top 3 middle schools and the top 3 elementary schools. So check it out, teachers, and bring your kids down, and you can win some prizes and have a lot of fun.
Okay, we're going to...
There's one young lady in the back I can't see. Commissioner.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Evelyn. City Secretary, I guess the next one, any commissioners' reports? All right, good. Proclamations. Do we have the proclamations?
The recipients for the Week of the Young Child of the Year.
Oh, I don't think it is.
Do you have the proclamation, Ms. Dunn?
Yes, sir. It's right here. Give him, give the mayor.
Rick, would you
give the
take care of
mayor-
this one? Por favor.
Whoever's gonna read it.
I wonder if they make those yellow skirts in my size.
Where's Jeff?
There you go. Look at that.
Qué bonitos.
You didn't look that good, Rick, when you were growing up. Right? Am I?
I like his suit.
Move on in, move on in. Gotta close the ranks here just a little bit. There we go.
The lady up there in the front. Or the
There you
children
go.
in the front.
Bill, have you got it squared in? Okay. Yeah, someone in the middle grab the proclamation there. Okay. Commissioner, if you would.
The following is a proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas, proclaiming April 21st through the 28th to be the Week of the Young Child in our city. And whereas the UTB-TSC Raul J. Guerra Early Childhood Center, in conjunction with the National Association for the Education of Young Children, is celebrating the Week of the Young Child from April 21st through the 28th, 2012. And whereas these organizations are working to improve early learning opportunities, including early literacy programs that can provide a foundation of learning for children in Brownsville. And whereas teachers and others who make a difference in the lives of young children in Brownsville deserve the thanks and recognition. And whereas public policies that support early learning for all young children are crucial to young children's future. Now therefore, we the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the Charter of said city, and on behalf of all our citizens, do hereby proclaim April 21st through the 28th, 2012, to be the Week of the Young Child in our city, and further encourage all our citizens to work to make a good investment in early childhood in Brownsville. And this is done the 17th day of April 2012, and it's signed by Antonio Tony Martinez, the Mayor of Brownsville, and the City Commission. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Anybody want to say something out of the group? There we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Early childhood education is vital for our children. Children need a strong early learning foundation to succeed in school and in life. Young children and their families depend on education and care, which help children get a great start and bring lasting benefits to our community. Mayor and City Commissioners, thank you for supporting policies at our local, state, and federal levels that provide high-quality early learning opportunities for all young children in our beautiful city of Brownsville.
Well, thank you so much. And let me tell all of you in the audience and in the TV or whatever it is that this city commission in totality certainly believes in early childhood, and there's a program that says from cradle to career, which I think is terrific. So keep up the good work. We have one of our own teachers right here who's we're very proud of. So keep up the good work. Don't stop. And anytime you need anything, call Rick. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The next proclamation, is that,
National Volunteer Month.
okay. Okay, Rose, would you like to read that one? You got the volunteers coming up? Come on up.
Yes. Can I call all the supporters up? Great. Can we get all the supporters that are up for United Brownsville, anybody who's interested in volunteering, nonprofit presence, volunteers, anybody that is in support of the United Brownsville movement, come on up and stand alongside with us, please.
Go ahead and come on up here so you can.
Right up here.
Come this way.
Come on.
Yeah. Why don't y'all stand right here? There you go. That looks good. How are y'all doing? Good. Hello, Father. How are you? John, you're going to have to kind of come this way. Let's get them all. Joe, let's kind of curve around here.
Okay.
All right, Rose, go ahead.
Okay, proclamation of the City Commission of Brownsville, Texas declaring April 2012 to be Volunteer Month in our city. Whereas April is Volunteer Month and National Volunteer Week was established in April as the official time to recognize and celebrate the efforts of volunteers at the local, state, and national levels, and whereas volunteerism strengthens communities, improves social problems, and enhances the overall quality of life for all citizens, including children, seniors, those who are disabled, the impoverished, the homeless, the physically or mentally ill, or those otherwise in need of assistance. And whereas volunteerism changes the lives of volunteers in a positive way, increasing self-confidence, self-esteem, and physical well-being, while offering the chance to meet new friends and associates and providing opportunities to learn new skills and abilities. And whereas volunteerism is proven to have a positive influence on entities that are socially responsible, increasing employee morale, loyalty and teamwork, and building goodwill towards the organization. And whereas nonprofits, charities, community, and faith-based groups, schools, volunteer centers, and related partners in Brownsville have joined together with state and local governments in celebration and praise of volunteers who have given tirelessly and selflessly to the service of others. Now, therefore, we, the members of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, by virtue of the authority vested by the charter of said city, and on behalf of all of our citizens, do hereby declare April 2012 to be Volunteer Month in our city, and further urge all of our citizens to help promote the spirit of volunteerism and to observe the month with appropriate activities. Done this 17th day of April 2012, Mayor Tony Martinez and the City Commission.
Y'all wait. Mike's going to say a word, or?
Sure. Real quick, Mike Gonzalez, Executive Director with United Brownsville. Thanks everybody for showing up here today and showing your support for Volunteer Month. Thank you to the Commission, Mayor, for your proclamation recognizing this month. Thank you for your service as volunteers. As a happily retired ex-politician myself, I know the amount of work that goes into serving your city, and we really appreciate that. United Brownsville has a civic and leadership task force. We have identified 3 priorities. One is to raise voter participation and engagement. 2 is to reach out and make it easier for citizens to volunteer in our community. And the third one escapes me for some reason. Can anyone name the third one right now?
Are you running for president?
I knew you were going to say that. I know, right? But the reason we're here today is really because in 2009, the city did designate Brownsville as a cities of service. One of the initiatives is to develop a high-impact service plan that can actually mobilize volunteers community-wide on the big issues that are really facing our community. And earlier today, Mayor, we were at the Vista Summit. One thing that came up there, it was really focused on education, especially in the Valley area. They talked about how one indicator of post-secondary education is household income. The lower the household income, the less their odds are that they're going to continue education. And one of the sessions talked about mentoring folks through, or students through the college process. And with federal funding the way it is being cut for those types of programs, mentoring can really fill in the gap and really assist on the priority issues such as education, which is connected to so many other issues here in our community. But with that, I'd like to bring up Stephanie to talk a little bit more about Cities of Service.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Reyes, and I serve as the co-chair for the Civic Leadership Task Force. And I'm very proud to say that this group of people up here have been meeting on a monthly, quarterly basis, whatever necessary, to really identify some of the needs of the community. And we're now developing our service plan. And that's part of our obligation as a city of service. And in 2009, Brownsville was the first city in Texas to become a city of service, which is a mayor's coalition. So now there's over 225 mayors in the United States that are part of this coalition, probably more by now. And everybody is working towards empowering the community to really do some volunteer work and make a difference in their community. And so I really appreciate everyone coming to the table and bringing their great ideas and their ongoing programs. And just thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, all of you, for all the good work you do. Next year, I want to see you come back and bring a friend. Okay, let's make this a community of service the way it was intended to be. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 4, presentations, Cameron County Historical Commission.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for having me this evening. My name is Wilson Bourgeois. I'm the newest member of the Cameron County Historical Commission, so unfortunately, y'all have me. This is my hazing, if you will. Thank you. The reason why I'm coming to you tonight is just to perhaps reopen your eyes to the Cameron County Historical Commission, what we do for Cameron County, which can also include Brownsville, as well as the citizens within Cameron County. What exactly does a CCHC do? We are the vital link in Texas preservation. A few other states have this built-in mechanism. I can honestly say, coming down from Massachusetts, that is true. Massachusetts, as old as that state is, does not have a built-in infrastructure for the field of history, such as Texas does. The Texas has, of course, established the Texas Historical Commission, in which oversees the CCHC and all historical commissions within the state. We are also responsible for preserving as well as cataloging artifacts, historical buildings, and other pieces of Texas history. Who is the CCHC? You may recognize some of these faces. I believe Mr. Galvito is very familiar within the city of Brownsville. Also, Mr. Norman Rosa from Harlingen is our secretary, and of course our chairperson, Mary Torres from Harlingen, and Steve Hathcock from Port Isabel. All the members of the CCHC represent communities within Cameron County. The committees that we currently have right now are Publicity Committee, Marker, Endangered Properties, Oral History, Archives, Cemetery, and our newest one, the Civil War Sesquicentennial. What exactly does the CCH do, and how can one enjoy and help in history? With various committees that we have, an individual would be able to participate in any realm of a committee or various committees that might fit their needs as an individual. The Marker Committee, of course, is responsible for all Texas historical markers within the state, especially here within Cameron County. Danger Properties Committee assists out in preservation of those buildings. The biggest example I could point out is to the Dancy Building, the Cameron County Courthouse that we have now. They help bring that up to par. The Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee, anybody who is, I could say for this committee, anybody who has the love of the understanding of the United States and what we enjoy today, especially the role of the Tejano and how important they played down here to Texas. That is a committee that we could definitely use their assistance in. The Publicity Committee, which is the more fun of all the committees, they're the individuals who go out and help out putting out markers as well as publications, and doing a lot on Facebook and YouTube, things to that effect. And of course, our Cemetery Committee, which is very involved in cleaning up the cemeteries as well as properly marking and designating the cemeteries. Some of our committees in action. Of course, here we have our newest marker that we put out in front of the J.T. Canales House here in Brownsville. One that is definitely in need of attention is that over in Los Indios, the marker of Las Rosias, which was a marker during the American Civil War. The Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee. Here in Brownsville on March 20th, we had our commencement event out at UT Brownsville. And an award was given to Mr. Jaime Vega from San Benito, who came up with the committee logo. Judge Coscos was there, as you can see through the pictures, meeting some of our officers as well as distinguished guests. Our endangered properties, again, a picture of the Dancy Building and how nicely it was done, and taking it from the shambles that it was once in to the glory that it is in now. So what can an individual do to help? Of course, volunteer their time and their skills. Everybody, I believe, has some form of skills, whether it be dictation, painting, writing, just talking to individuals, listening to individuals. That's something, especially for the Oral History Committee, that one can do. Of course, any kind of artifacts that they may want to bestow to the county, that we'd be more than happy to house that for them. And of course, a tax-deductible financial gift. So what tonight we're looking at is a special look at the Civil War Sesquicentennial Committee. I believe this quote says it best, that anybody anywhere in America can ever say. And if I may read it, understanding the history of the Civil War is something that every American, every young American should be part of. And President Barack Obama said that. And I believe that one little quote is so correct. The American Revolution did what it did, and the Civil War made us what we are today. It truly united us. Going on, so in 2011 of this last year, in January of this last year, Cameron County raised the Sesquicentennial Committee. And it's my pleasure to say that we are the only county in the entire state of Texas that has an official committee dedicated to the sesquicentennial. What does that mean for us as Texans? It means that we now have a dog in the fight, if you will. Other counties without our sister states, Louisiana all the way up to Maryland, all are doing some official form of commemorating the American Civil War. And of course, since we are the state's leader for that, we do have that honor of wearing that crown. This is the logo, which was officially created by Mr. Vega. As you can see, it's very simple and bold and to the point. I'm also glad to say that a lieutenant governor from a state in which I cannot stay officially actually said that was better than theirs. So that was a pretty nice compliment on getting that. The mission of the committee is to coordinate all events within Cameron County for the Civil War Sesquicentennial. It is also to promote through programs and educational events and other events of the knowledge of the American Civil War and the importance that the Civil War had here in Cameron County. It's further to educate students, young people, and the general public about the causes, course, and legacies of the Civil War from both the Union and Confederate, the Tejano, the African American perspectives, ensuring that only historically accurate perspectives are portrayed. What we plan to do and what we have been doing is offering symposiums, both history and research, fairs such as book fairs, and working with local ISDs and for their history fairs, and also theater nights. One thing I did not have on that slide is our reenactments. We will plan our first reenactment next year out by Boca Chica Beach, and then our second one in 2014 at Las Rosias, and of course our bigger one on 2015 at the Battle of Palmetto Hill, which that one I can say will probably be the biggest event in Cameron County, if not the state of Texas, for we will have almost 500 participants, just like the real battle. Of that, we will actually have real descendants from Indiana, whose descendants fought with the Indiana regiment that fought that day, also African American regiments. So we're hoping and planning for something big for not only Cameron County, but also the city of Brownsville. The way I see things is that if people come down to Cameron County, that means they will come down and spend money. What does the sesquicentennial mean? And just very basic terms in which everyone can understand. The Commonwealth of Virginia for the past 6 years, did their due diligence in planning. And they came up with a projected score or projected figure of $1 billion in taxable revenue at the end of the 5 years sesquicentennial. For last year alone, they collected $435 million off of their hotel motel tax alone. This is what I'm trying to present to the commissioners and to you, Mr. Mayor, that if we all join together, Cameron County might be a little bit better place to live. And so that's why we ask for your support. With the citizens of Brownsville, especially Brownsville, it's my former hometown. I was born and raised here. I'm a graduate most of BISD, and I'm very proud to say that a lot of my friends and family still live here in Brownsville. I feel that Brownsville is very unique. In most of my travels from Virginia all the way up to Massachusetts to here, everyone knows Brownsville. And I'm very proud to say that I am from Brownsville. Hopefully Brownsville will assist in all of our efforts in supporting us and getting the word out about our upcoming events. And hopefully by 2015, the eye of not only Texas, but also the nation will look upon us.
Well, I do want to thank you for your presentation, and of course, our city manager and Mr. Gonzalez, our CFO, will definitely look at everything that we have. I'm going to urge the City Commission to really support this effort, and I'll tell you why. I happen to be kind of a history buff, and I happen to know that within the state of Texas, we probably had more fighting occurring in the Civil War in Brownsville and in Cameron County than anywhere else, okay? And for these young children that are attending here tonight, and Evelyn, this is a history lesson that can take real life. I mean, what you guys do, and when they reenact all these things actually happened. And there are several books that I would, after Evelyn, I'll talk to you about it, that I would highly recommend, not only for adults but for the students, to learn about Texas history. Texas history is rich in tradition, but the Civil War is particularly interesting because, especially of the Mexican-American involvement, and as to whether we were, partisan to the Union troops or whether we were partisan to the Confederate troops. As much as you talk about hotel and motel tax, these guys were doing a lot of trading, and they would sell to whoever was the highest bidder, mainly the Confederates, and all the cotton they were selling to them. And some very prominent families all are involved in this. This is not to say that there was something good or something bad. It's simply that it's history, and it's very, very interesting. And as a matter of fact, some of your very prominent citizens who were lending a year to the union, had to get presidential pardons afterwards to be able to continue to live in Brownsville. And so there's a terrific history about how when things got bad and the union came down, and a lot of our ancestors moved over to Matamoros, and a lot like the problem they're having in Matamoros now, a lot of our brethren from that side are coming over here. So because of a different situation, but it is a situation similar in the fact that there's a lot of violence, okay? So I encourage the BISD, I encourage Evelyn, I encourage all of these young kids that are here tonight to take a look at that, because it really is fascinating. I mean, it's beyond the pale. So we hope you all the success in the world, and we certainly will be very considerate of this great effort.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next presentation is Employee of the Month.
Mayor, members of the commission, please help me welcome and thank the Employee of the Month for April, Eva Vega. Eva has been employed with the city of Brownsville since October of 2000. She's approaching her 12th year with the city. Obviously, she started at a very young age. She began her career with the city of Brownsville as a state grant accountant and moved on in 2005 to help us with the asset accounting and corresponding duties of keeping track of all capital assets for the city of Brownsville. She did that for 5 years. And in 2011, she was reassigned to the position of community development accountant. And I know that during her time here, she has really been very helpful, especially when we had a series of hurricanes, and helping us with a lot of the CDBG funding and things like that. Her co-workers in the finance department, and that alone should give her Employee of the Month. She's been there in the finance department for a long time. They respect her. They go for her for advice. She's a good mentor, a good example, and very much one of our accountable employees of the city of Brownsville. So as Employee of the Month for April, she gets our pin. She doesn't have one like that. Our plaque, Employee of the Month for April. And I hope this is a girl's watch. Let me check. Girl's watch. She's always on time. She doesn't really need it, but it's a pretty watch. And she's got a few words for our commission. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say thank you. I have enjoyed working with the city, and I've got great boss. Thank you.
Are you talking about Pete? Thank you, Eva.
Item 5, consent agenda items A through C.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, if I could just make real brief announcement, nothing related to the agenda, just, I don't want to say it at the end of the meeting. I'd just like to pass condolences on our behalf of the city of Brownsville for the passing of Senator Carlos Truan from Corpus Christi, who was laid to rest today.
That's very appropriate. Thank you very much.
Item 6, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 3 members to the Brownsville Public Library System Advisory Board.
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, the Brownsville Library Board is in need of 3 board member appointments. Of our past 3 members, Mrs. Graciana de Pena, after serving with distinction for several years, has decided not to seek reappointment. The other 2, Mr. Merrill Hammonds and Mrs. Karen Pena, are seeking reappointment. And also within your packet, you have an application from Mr. Christopher Davis seeking appointment for the first time. I bring these before you for your consideration.
Mayor, I'd like to reappoint Mr. Merrill Hammonds, who was my original appointment.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Now, I'm sorry, Jerry, are you asking for the reappointment of all those 3 that are highlighted? Or?
The only 2 seeking reappointment is Mr. Merrill Hammonds and Karen Pena. Graciana de Pena is declining reappointment.
Okay.
So we need to make a
Karen Pena?
motion. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that, two. Now you have two new members that you're looking?
No, we have one,
One?
and the application is from a Mr. Christopher Davis.
Okay.
He's seeking appointment to the library board.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Christopher Davis.
Okay. Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you for your
Thank you, Jerry.
consideration.
Thank you, Jerry.
Item number 7, consideration and action to appoint or reappoint 4 members to the Parks Advisory Board Committee.
Mayor, Commissioners, I would like to add to this, please. There's 2 members that have submitted their applications. The other 2 have not. Therefore, I'm requesting if we could table the other 2 appointments.
Okay.
The 2 that want to be reappointed are Leo Rosales and Mehdi Hagee.
Okay.
They've submitted their applications, and if we could table it, I could put 2 more. If you can contact me if you're interested.
So can I hear a motion with regards to Leo Rosales and Mehdi?
Mayor, once again, if I could reappoint Mr. Leo Rosales to the board.
Okay.
Well, I just want to, for clarification, if we're going based on whoever's appointing, are we going back to that system? I'm a little confused.
No, we're not going back to the same system. I think the new, we adopted the new,
Policy.
yeah, the new policy. So, I mean,
I did have
if
several.
you don't mind, Commissioner, it's just, you would like to make the motion for Leo Rosales, whoever.
Correct.
Okay.
Before we do take that, I know I had 2 individuals that had mentioned that they were interested, and I don't see their applications, so I would like to make a motion, maybe we could table it, so that we can make sure that those individuals that are interested, that their applications are submitted. I'm not sure if they submitted the applications, but I know they had voiced an interest in applying for these appointments.
Commissioner, that's what I'd like to do, if we could table 2 of the 4 and appoint 2 today.
Are these, there's only 2 that have submitted applications, okay? There's 2 that have indicated an interest but have not submitted applications. And you have 2 more, or what?
Yes.
Okay, but in other words, what I will entertain, first of all, if you have a motion to table the
To
whole thing?
table the entire,
The entire deal,
appointment,
okay,
yes.
then.
So we could have the entire slate before us.
Okay, so you have a motion to table the entire appointment process for your department. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Okay. Chris, we'll come back next time. Let's take a look, make sure that everybody's got a chance to take, who wants to serve. We'd like to be as inclusive as all possible, okay? I'd like to get as many people in this town to get involved in one committee or another so that they can, that they can take ownership of the city.
I agree.
Okay?
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you,
Item
Commissioners.
8, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 2012-318-KK to amend Chapter 106 Vehicles for Hire of the City of Brownsville Code of Ordinances by repealing Section 106-39 and by repealing current Section 106-31 Operation at Elizabeth Street Taxi Terminal and replacing it with new Section 106-31 titled Plaza District and University Boulevard Taxi Terminals Operation and dealing with related matters.
Mayor and Commissioners, good evening. This is revisiting the past presentation on the ordinance that former chief presented on the new taxi cab ordinance that we'd like to repeal and replace. As you know, since the Plaza Center has opened up, there are 5 additional slots. What we'd like to do is amend this to cover those 5 additional slots in the ordinance. We recently had a meeting at the police department with the taxi cab drivers, and we have come up with a permanent plan that is already in place. It's working out now. So what that does, it fills the additional 5 slots for 15 total for the Plaza and University parking slots. The ordinance also talks about other matters regarding enforcement and compliance by the taxi drivers themselves.
So you're adding 5 slots also to the Elizabeth location?
No, sir, there's actually 10 there at the University and 5 at the Plaza, which is the bus.
Okay.
So a total of 15. And as before, there were only 10 total. Now there are 15, with the 15 taxi drivers that are all accounted for at this point.
Where are the 5 slots at La Plaza?
Right, if you remember where we did the ribbon cutting, right there on that side of the building, right to the right past the driveway where the buses come in. This is a
Because
public
I was
hearing.
passing by there and I saw some, and I didn't recognize them as that area where you had designated, and I was just kind of curious, that's all.
It is there.
Chief, the old rotation list that was established, is that going to be followed? Or is it permanent companies that are staying?
The new rotation list, Commissioner, will now, they'll rotate 2 months at a time at University and 1 at Plaza.
Correct.
And that's what they do. So every quarter, they'll
That'll
get
work.
2 and 1, 2 and 1, and we.
That sounds fair.
Yeah. Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anyone have any comments on this one? Obviously, you must have quieted the dissidents.
Yeah, and I think it would also, yeah,
How
it
did
helps.
you do it?
Okay, so do I hear a motion to close?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing's closed. Action. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 9, public hearing and action to authorize the issuance of a new taxi cab permit to Mr. Florentino Izaguirre on a 2001 Chevy Venture van, which he will operate for ABC Taxi.
Honorable Mayor, Commission, we ask that you approve the request for Mr. Florentino Seguirre, who will be driving and operating for ABC Taxi. He meets all the requirements necessary.
Move to close?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Action.
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Item 10, public comment. First person. Item number 10,
You're Americans, and Jesus Christ made you free. Never different.
Okay.
item
Estella?
number 10, consideration and action to approve a memorandum of understanding with the Brownsville Historical Association for the renovation part of the first floor of Market Square.
Excuse me, sometimes it takes a little longer to get up here than I.
That's all right, that's okay.
You have before you a memorandum of understanding with the Historical Association to redo the first floor of Market Square. Priscilla Rodriguez and Larry Loft should be here to answer questions that you all may have about it. I don't see them. In terms of exactly.
Let's get to work. Let's get
Yeah,
to work.
yeah,
Oh, there they are.
yeah, Priscilla's here, but, John, I think most everybody has read the memorandum of understanding. Does any of the commissioners have any questions?
Let's get started.
I think we've been kind of waiting for this. So if we can have, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Priscilla, for being here. You look very nice.
Item 12, consideration and action on a lease of land at the Brownsville Airport Foreign Trade Zone.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Mayor Martinez, City Commissioners, our purpose for coming before you all this evening is to request the City Commission consideration and action on a lease with the Brownsville International Air Cargo business of a 64,600 square foot tract of land at the airport foreign trade zone for the adjacent to the air cargo ramp, and that's for the purpose of continuing our major efforts to establish a dual customs operation at the airport in Brownsville. Next slide. Also, I'd like to take the opportunity while they're here. We have both Dr. Diaz as well as Ricardo Farias, who are the key principals with Brownsville International Cargo here. In the event that you would like to talk to them this evening, Our ultimate goal, as is illustrated here, is to establish a dual customs pre-clearance facility at the Brownsville South Broward International Airport. This is to give you an illustration, a little bit of an illustration in terms of what we're talking about. The site for the Mexican dual cargo, dual customs operation by BIAC is located right where the pointer is indicating. This, as you can see, has access to our 5-position air cargo ramp. The existing air cargo building is located here, and the facility that we're proposing to build for the U.S. side of the dual customs operation was where I was pointing. This is our existing air cargo facility at the airport. Again, this is where the U.S. dual customs hangar operation will be, where we're proposed to build a hangar. This is where BIAC proposes to build on the lease site. This is actually the lease site as it stands right now this evening. This is also the illustration of the 64,600 square foot lease site. It's for, the lease is actually for a period of 10 years with 3 10-year option periods. The lessee is authorized to operate a Mexican dual customs use on the site as well as various other appropriate uses. The lessee will pay $46,512 per year for the lease of the raw land. The lease is effective April 20th, 2012, should the City Commission choose to approve it. It expires April 12th of the year 2022 in terms of the first option. The rent is to commence on a period of November 30th, giving them the time to move in on the site and start construction of the building. Okay? They do propose to build a 2-story or 3-story building that will house the Mexican customs officials that will operate the Mexican side of the dual customs facility. They're here to answer any questions you have as well as myself. Staff recommends approval. I'd also like to express thanks to City Manager Charlie Cabler as well as Dr. Diaz-Mercado Frias for having the fortitude to withstand years worth of effort working on this project. And I will tell you, I think I've mentioned this before, we're getting very close in Washington to the designation we want to have. Okay?
Would approve?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Is my motion to make quick?
Item 13, consideration and action to award a contract for street paving and drainage improvements for Los Ebanos Boulevard.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commissioners. This item before you is to award a contract to G&T Paving for the improvements of Los Ebanos Boulevard from Old Dallas Road to the frontage road. I recommend approval of this item.
Your motion?
Motion?
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 14, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase, delivery, and programming of Motorola equipment for the Brownsville Police Department.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, pursuant to a grant that was awarded to us with your approval last year, we would like to use funding and ask for your consideration and action to award the contract of the purchase of Motorola radios, and the number 15 radios for the police department. This was through a JAG grant approved by.
Motion to approve?
Motion second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Vote adjourn?
Second.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor.